Hey there, great to see you. My name's Ozzy and I'm the founder of whensmytime.com. What I want to talk to you today is about when you first step out into the unknown, when you first decide to become an entrepreneur yourself. And it's actually to give you a bit of a tip, because what you'll rapidly find, particularly if you've come from a corporate background where there'd be a department for this, a department for that, department for the other, so you'd have accounting over here, you'd have marketing over here, sales over here, and all that sort of stuff. You'll rapidly find that you are going to be all of it. Anything that needs doing needs to be done by you. And the temptation is to look at all of it and say, right, I better get started on that, and I better get started on that, better get started on that, otherwise nothing's going to get done. And I want you to stop. Because what I want to do is to destroy the myth of multitasking. Some people say they're great multitaskers. Now, that may be true in very particular circumstances. And those circumstances are when you're dealing with something that doesn't require your focus, your concentration all the time, that you develop certain motor skill, excuse me, you develop certain motor skills, sort of muscle memory that allow you to do one thing while concentrating on the other. Now, one example you might be able to think of is driving. Do you remember when you first learned to drive? You, particularly if you were in the UK or Europe, and where we have predominantly stick shift sort of gear lever rather than automatics, if you're learning on that, you had to remember, right, clutch depressed, change gear, release clutch gradually, and that sort of stuff. So you're constantly thinking about what you're doing. But after a relatively short period of time, all of that comes automatically to you. And so you can hold a conversation, you can listen to music, you can listen to a news broadcast, and you're okay doing all of that because you can manage that. The same thing could apply to a household task, for example. Let's think, ironing. That's a prime example. When you're doing the ironing, you maybe watch a movie at the same time to help the time pass, or listen to sort of motivational tapes, that sort of tapes. That shows my age, doesn't it? But you get the drift. Okay. Now, when it comes to things that require your absolute attention, then multitasking goes out of the window. And I aim to prove that to you right now. So what we're going to need for this proof, and I'll be stopping the video at some stages as well, what you're going to need for this proof is a sheet of paper. In UK or Europe, that'd be A4 or letter paper in the US, and a phone, and here's my old one, a phone with a stopwatch function on it. You'll need those two. Oh, of course, a marker, something to write on the paper. What I suggest is you pause the video here, go and grab those things, and I'll see you back here in a second. Okay, I'm pausing the video now. Okay, you got those things. So it's a sheet of paper, a marker, and a phone, or indeed a real stopwatch. But you need to have a stopwatch function for this. Okay, so what I want you to do, I'm going to explain what I want you to do, and then I don't want you to do it at the moment because it's important, because this will knock out the timings. I want you to listen to what I'm going to say, and then once I tell you, pause the video again, and I want you to do these things, okay? So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do after you pause the video is take your sheet of paper and just draw a line straight down the middle of it. Okay. Once you've done that, that's when the task starts. That's when the timed task starts. So what you'll first do is you'll grab your stopwatch and you'll set it running. And the first job I want you to do is this. I want you to, I don't know if it's going to come out here because my handwriting is very bad, and B, I don't know if it's going to come out on the camera. But what I want you to do is list the months of the year in the left-hand column, but I want you to list them in reverse order. Once you've done that, I want you to hit the lap counter on your stopwatch. So the stopwatch will continue going, but it will record the time it took you to do that job. Then, what I want you to do is to go straight, once you've hit the lap counter, go straight to this column and list all the numbers in the 3 times table, 3 through to 36. So 3, 6, 9, 12, so on, all the way down. So you will then, once you've finished that column, hit the lap counter again. So you'll have 2 times stored. The time it took you to do the months of the year and the time it took you to do the numbers 3 through to 36. And you'll end up with a list that goes December 3 down to January 36. Yeah, got that? Right. So what I want you to do is, right, remember, once you've paused it, draw a line down here and then hit the timer and write the months of the year in reverse order, December through January. It's very important, this bit, hit the lap counter and then go on to do the numbers 3 through 36 and again hit the lap counter. So you've stored 2 times. Okay? Right, pause the video now and go do that. And I'll see you back here when you've done it. Hey, welcome back. You've done that, yeah? So it's very important that you've got those 2 times stored. If you haven't, I want you to go back, pause the video again and do the exercise again. It won't spoil things. So remember, you should have the time taken to do the column of months of the year in reverse order and the time taken to do the column of numbers 3 through to 36. Yeah. Right. Now, on to the second part. I want you to turn the paper over and again, draw a line down it. Now, again, don't do anything until I tell you to go and pause the video. Yeah? This time, I want you to record the same information. So December through to January and 3 through to 36. But instead of going down the columns, I want you to go across. So you will write December, then you will write 3. You'll write November, then you'll write 6, and so on all the way down. And again, I want you to, before you start that process, I want you to hit the stopwatch to make it start. And then I want you to record the time it takes you to get to the bottom of this column and the time to get to the bottom of this column. And remember, it's very important. Don't work down, work across all the way down. Yeah, you got that? So you'll end up with exactly the same information, but you've recorded it in a different fashion. You've gone across, not down. Okay, pause the video here and I'll see you again in a moment. Hey, welcome back. Let's hope you've got some interesting results now. So you should now have 2 more results for working across the page rather than down it. Yeah, and you'll also have a total time. So the total time for doing the exercise. So you add the 2 times together for doing the exercise the first time around. So getting all the information down on the sheet the first time around, and a total time for getting the information down on the second time around. Because the second time around you were effectively multitasking. So you were doing 2 tasks at once. Now, my guess is that the total time for the second exercise was longer than the total time for the first. Now, if by some total miracle you got the same time for both exercises, sort of exactly the same time for working down the page and exactly the same time for working across the page. Now, if by some miracle that happened, I'm still going to prove to you that it's better to work down the page, effectively doing 1 task at a time, rather than working across the page, multitasking. And why do you think that might be? Well, the clue is in those split times. That's why I asked you to record those split times. Because when you compare the split time for recording the information working down the page for this first task, and compare that against completing this column on the second task, you'll see that that is much, much shorter. So just imagine they were 2 real jobs. And let's imagine you got 2 clients who had employed you to do those jobs. In the second instance, you've got to wait to get paid for this one until marginally before you get paid for this one. Does that make sense? Whereas in the first instance, you get paid for this as soon as you've done that. Then you move on to that one and get paid for that one. So when you're in business for yourself, more than ever, results are what count. And results in this instance, when you're working on a job, equate to money in the bank. Yeah? And you want this money as soon as you can have it. So always, always, always focus on one task at a time. Don't multitask, because by multitasking, A, it doesn't work for 99% of the time when it's a job that you've got to concentrate. It doesn't work. But B, you will get faster results all round and money in your bank much quicker if you concentrate on one thing at a time. Look, I hope we've managed to dispel the myth of multitasking there, at least in this particular instance and in similar related instances. Now, I can't claim credit for devising that experiment. It was Dean Jackson, so I must credit Dean Jackson for that. But I think it's an interesting exercise, don't you? I think it's a lesson well learned in the early stages of your business. Focus on one task at a time and you will be much, much more productive. Look, I hope you enjoyed that. I've been Aussie Air, founder of whensmytime.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And leave me a comment below. And by all means, drop me an email at aussie@whensmytime.com. That's aussie@whensmytime.com. And I'll see you soon in another video. Cheers then. Bye-bye.